Hi everybody, this is Maureen Wong for YourNextStamp.com. Today for my 12 Days of Giving post, I am doing this cute little Christmas themed cup holder with a die that I designed, and if you haven't seen it before, the beginning of this video shows how to put it together, and then at the ending of the video I have a ton of ideas for you to fill it. So let's get started. Okay, so to start with, we're using my cup holder die, and you can see this little circle kind of cut into my die, and that happened when I left a circle die on my cutting plate by accident and then put my cup holder die right over it and ran it through. And the circle die actually cut a little bit into my cup holder die. But it's okay, it still works perfectly fine, but that was just a warning. Make sure you don't have any extra dies on your cutting plate when you do this so that you don't have that happening to you. Now I put down my die face down and I traced around it one way, and then I can flip it the other way and trace around it that way too. And so you can see from that point on, this whole section of cardstock I have left over to use for other things or for later use in this project. So what I'm going to do is take my scissors and cut out along those pencil lines. And of course you don't have to be exact, I'm just getting a rough shape, so yeah, there we can put that on the side. And then we can go ahead and cut out my two shapes to run my cup holder die through. And you can see they are just perfect to fit the die because I drew the lines around them and measured it first. And it does fit on both sides, and now I'm going to go and run through those through my die cut machine. And now I have two of the same die, and I also have these little strips of pattern paper that I cut from an Echo Park 6x6 paper pad. And if you want to cut these strips, it's 1.5 inches tall by 4 inches wide on the large side and 2 inches wide on the short side. And then I just cut all those measurements 1/8 of an inch smaller so that it would fit nicely in there with a little margin around all of the pieces. So I'm just going to stick those down, and then we're going to start assembling the box. Okay, I'm speeding this up because basically all I'm doing is folding on all of the score lines that the die has left on both pieces of the cup holder. And then I'm going to take out some tacky glue to assemble my cup holder. And normally I would use my ATG adhesive to put this together, but for this one especially, you probably want to use a stronger glue that you're sure won't come apart, especially if you're using something heavy inside of the cup holder. So I'm gluing the two pieces together first by using glue on the little tabs, and then I glue the handle pieces together, and then I glue the bottom shut. So that is the basic assembly of the box. Okay, so now that we have the cup holder all finished and the glue has dried and it's solid and sturdy and ready to be filled, what are you going to fill it with? Well, my original idea for this was to put decorated K-cups in it, and that's why it's the particular size that it is. And I used my cup topper dies and my cup topper set 2 stamps, and I made this little wishing you a happy holiday. And I used the same pattern paper that I used on the cup holder, and then I just stamped some stuff, and I put some ATG adhesive, just a little bit, so they can get it off easily, but it still sticks really nicely to the K-cup. And you can decorate 2 of those, and then you have a nice little gift. But I wanted to make sure you knew that's not all that you can do with this. There's so much more things that you can fill it with. And I've actually gone to the store, and this one is from Target, and it is 3.5 fluid ounce little mini. They almost look like the red Solo cups. They're so cute. And you can fit a 3 ounce, also fits really nicely in here. The 3.5 ounce is just a little bit big, so it's not going to sit flat, especially if you put them both in there. You can kind of futz with it, but I'm just letting you know that this was all they had when I went. And I have bought 3-ounce cups before, and I know they fit perfectly. And the 3.5 is just a tiny bit bigger. And so what you can do is, what I've done here is I've taken that extra piece of cardstock that was left over from cutting the cup holder and some of the extra pattern paper after I cut the strips, and I went ahead and glued this circle. And let me get the dies for you. I used the YNS circle die set, and it's actually this size, which is the 4th from the largest, and it cuts the perfect circle to fit this 3.5-ounce cup. And what I did was I just cut a piece of cardstock with that 4th from the largest circle, and then I used the cup topper die set to cut this little scalloped piece and put it on. And you can decorate it, you know, however much or however little you want. If you're gonna make a ton of these, I suggest you kind of pare down on the decorating and all of the steps needed to finish it. But then what I did was I just took the circle, and here I have another set of them, and what I did was I glued on the pattern piece first. Oh, that's the wrong side. And then I turned it over, and I got my, this is multi-matte medium in a small needle tip bottle. It's great for this kind of project where I'm trying to get a really thin line of glue all the way around my circle. And then I just got the cup, filled it, and I put that cover on and let it dry. And so here's an example of one thing that you can fill your cup with. And I think this is a really fun gift, because then it's something that they can actually open as a little gift instead of just being presented with something that, you know, they can kind of already know what it is. So this way they actually have a little present to open. So what they do is just pull off this cover, and my glue is actually still a little bit wet, so it's probably not going to come off as nicely as if it were dry. And these are, they're called Peppermint Bark Bells from Hershey, and I just love these. They're so delicious. And you can see that I fit 5 of them in my little cup very easily. If you play around with it, you might be able to fit more in there, but I think 5 is a good number. And then, like I said, I just put the glue on to that circle on the very edges of the circle, and then stuck it on top and held it down for just a couple seconds, and it glued together. My darling husband went to the store for me, and he went looking all over the store for things that might fit into the cups or into the cup holder by themselves. And let me show you what he came up with. Anything that's individually wrapped is gonna fit, and that fits into the cup is gonna be a nice thing. So these are Raffaello, it's an almond coconut treat, and these are really delicious. And you can fit a couple of those in there and put those in. Like I said, any kind of candy that's gonna fit in there is gonna be great. This giant thing of Tic Tacs actually fits in there. It kind of bulges out the side, so you need to make sure you did a really good job of adhering your what do you call these? Pattern paper panels. The funniest thing that he came up with were red and green cans of sardines, and they actually don't fit in the cup holder, but they kind of do if you shove them in there. And he thought it was cute just because they were red and green. So if you have somebody on your list who actually likes sardines in tomato sauce, there's an option for you. And then I wanted to show you also, if you're giving this gift to people who wouldn't mind something that is not pre-sealed, like you're giving it to family or friends, this is just a regular Ziploc sandwich bag. And what I do is I cut off the zipper part, and then I cut it up the center. Sorry. So I can get 2 little bags out of this. And then I get something like this. These are peanut butter and chocolate flavored cereal nuggets. And so what I would do is I would actually put the plastic, sorry, this is such a mess on my desk. I just have a ton of ideas that he got for us though. So, and you're not touching them, but people might be a little wary of things that aren't sealed. So actually, if you don't cut the bag, you'll be able to fit more in there. But if you just want to make the tiniest, tiny little treat, there's a little thing that can fit in there. And then I would go ahead and tie it with some twine. And then you can shove all that in and then put the topper on. In the alternative, if you don't cut the bag in half and you have a bigger bag, you can fill this up a lot more and then just have it sticking out, and you don't need a cover on that, and that will fit nicely. You can do 2 packages of the same thing or 2 different things, but that's an option because you can get a ton of things like snacks and candies and things that are not individually wrapped. If you have friends or family who aren't going to mind this sort of thing, and you can even pass it off as homemade. This is an option specifically for people in Hawaii, but you might have other products across the mainland that are like this. It's a little sour cream container of macadamia nuts, and while you can shove it in the cup and put the cover on and hide it, you can also just stick it in there. But I think it's really cute and fun to have stuff sealed in the cup so that your recipient actually gets to open it. One final idea, let me get some of this stuff out of the way, are little liquor bottles. And these may be a little bit questionable to you. I don't know if you're going to be giving little things of Bacardi or Crown Royal to people on your list, but these little bottles are just adorable, and most of them will fit right into the holder. If you're worried about them kind of moving around, then I would suggest you get a little bit of tissue. Of course, you would, cut yours nicer than that. And then you can actually stick that in with some nice tissue, and it'll keep it from rattling around in the cup holder like that. In the alternative to that, you can give something that's still alcohol and really, really cute, but not hard liquor. And I found these. It's the Barefoot brand of Moscato in these little mini bottles. I'm not sure how big these bottles are, but they're really cute. And would you believe that 2 of them actually fit absolutely perfectly in this little holder? You can't hold it by the handle, but I think it's just the cutest little thing to present it in this gift box. And I would probably tie ribbon around the bottle necks. And then the other idea you can do is just give 1 bottle, and then you can give a little cup of chocolates to go with that, or really mix and match any of this stuff. I also found this thing called Mix Fusions Moscato in this little bottle, and this one is a little bigger, so it kind of bulges out, and if you try to put 2 in there, it's not really going to fit nicely. So I would recommend doing the 1 bottle with the cup of something like chocolates or some sort of a snack mix or something. And while I was browsing today at the grocery store, I saw just a ton of little beautiful sake bottles, little mini ones that would fit in here. And so, if you want ideas, just go to your local grocery store, liquor store, whatever you want, and just browse the aisles. I would give you one tip, which is to actually make a box ahead of time and take it with you to the store and see what you can fit into it, which is what I did with my husband, and he came home with all this wonderful stuff that you can fit inside this box. So I hope you like this. gift idea for the 12 days of Christmas. And thank you very much for watching. We hope to see you over at yournextstamp.com for these and many other fun products. Happy holidays!